Welcome back, On Guard Army. The biggest struggle with getting into Lorcana right now is the price. However, there's been a deck that I've really enjoyed playing lately that is mad cheap to build, and is really good. This deck uses Mulan Imperial Soldier to buff up the lore of your other characters when it banishes one of your opponent's characters. With the use of White Rabbit's Pocket Watch, you can give Mulan Rush to run into your opponent's characters to buff up your already established characters to pull ahead in the game's lore race. I have 3 different iterations of this deck, one that's under $25, one that's under $50, and one that's under $75. Regardless of your budget, you'll be able to have a great time playing this deck at your locals. For the $25 build, we've chosen some budget alternatives to other cards. We have Yzma instead of Magic Mirror and Cauldron to be able to filter through your deck whenever you quest while also being a character on your board. We also have Wardrobe, which is a 3-cost 3/4 that is good at controlling the board in the mid-game, as well as the Challenger Jafar, which is also good at removing big threats from the field. We also have Poison Apple instead of the 3-cost Elsa for exerting opponents' characters, so we can rush into them with Mulan and Rafiki. All of the decks play all of the red evasive characters because they are hard to remove from the field and all lore for 2. Pongo is a 2/3 that lures for 2, Goofy is a 3/4 that lures for 2, and Tigger is a 4/4 that lures for 2. All of them are great targets for buffing up with Mulan. We also have the Maleficent and Friends on the other side draw engine, Pascal and Olaf for good early game 1-drops that tend to stay on the field for a while, and Shield of Virtue to be able to ready up our Mulan and swing again, which can lead to you being able to buff up your board multiple times in a single turn. In our $50 build, we have LeFou Instigator over the Yzmas and have the budget to include 2 Magic Mirror and an Ursula's Cauldron for draw, as well in addition to the Maleficent and Friends draw engine. We've also decided to do a 2-2 split of Rafiki and Zeus for rush characters because they both work well in different situations. Zeus has a bit more bulk and lures for 2, but after he swings he's vulnerable to being swung back at. He is good for trading with Emerald's 5-cost 3-lore characters like Mad Hatter and Cusco, whereas Rafiki is better against Amber for being able to rush into Simba without being banished. We also have 2 Befuddle, which helps against aggro, and we are playing a 3rd White Rabbit's Pocket Watch to make it easier to draw into. This deck also plays the 3-cost Elsa instead of Poison Apple because it can exert opposing characters and pairs very well with the Shift Dr. Facilier for being able to protect the Elsas and bounce other characters back to hand when you rush them into opposing characters, using White Rabbit's Pocket Watch, or just the rush characters like Rafiki and Zeus. It also just lures for 3, which is really useful for pulling ahead as well. And finally, in our $75 build, the main difference is cutting the Olafs for the 1-drop Maleficents that lure for 2. Paired with LeFou, this is a very powerful early game combo. The ability to lure for 2 on turn 2 and then play a LeFou to ready the Maleficent to protect it is very good for pulling ahead in the lore race early on. This combo is a bit weak to steal, which is why we also play the 2-drop Facilier, which you can play on turn 2 instead of the LeFou when up against steal due to its higher willpower. Other than that, the build doesn't change all that much. We don't play Befuddle anymore because we want to more aggressively lore race, but the inclusion of the 1-drop Maleficent makes it much easier to get ahead in the early game. And with Mulan buffing up your lore on your low-cost, high-lore characters, you are able to close out the game pretty easily with these combos. If you have the budget to add Maleficents to your deck, I would highly recommend it. However, if you don't, any of the prior builds will work nearly as well, and the Olaf does have the benefit of having a toughness of 3 on a 1-drop, so it's not as if it is a strict downgrade. A few other options that you could consider depending on what your local meta is are keeping the Jetsam from the more budget deck due to its 3/3 stats and evasive for 4 inks so it can swing favorably into cards like 4-cost Emerald Tinkerbell or an opposing Pongo, adding Jafar Keeper of Secrets due to its willpower of 5 and ability to lure for 2, also on a 4-cost, which helps quite a bit against steal, or if you have the budget for it, Maui Hero to All could be good for removal, and a few 7-cost Ursula could be good due to its ability to set back your opponent by 1 lore, draw a card, and lore for 3, all on a character with a massive willpower of 8. I hope you enjoyed this video. I always like to share decks I enjoy with people, especially when it's something fun and affordable. If you like videos like these, drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps to motivate me to continue to make more content. If you have any other color combinations you'd like me to make budget deck profiles on, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. Happy questing, and I will catch you all later.